Lesson 2.3, Task 1. Solve a formula for a variable of interest. You have seen many formulas from your study of math, such as the formula A equals LW that gives area A of a rectangle in terms of the rectangle's length and width. A formula usually shows just one variable on the left side so that you can easily calculate the value of that variable using known values of the variables on the right side. The image shows perimeter formulas for some regular polygons. A polygon is a closed figure made up of line segments, called sides, that intersect only at their endpoints and that lie on distinct lines. A regular polygon is a polygon whose sides all have the same length and whose angles all have the same measure. All right, so if you look at these, you can see this is an equilateral triangle. They all have the same side length. A square has the same side length. Here is a regular polygon with 5 sides. These each have the same distance. The side lengths are equal. And a regular hexagon, 6 sides, but they all have the same measure for distance on the side. Suppose you want to write a formula that allows you to calculate the side length S of a regular polygon if you know the perimeter P. Match each formula with the correct figure. All right, so the first one is the equilateral triangle, so you know there are 3 sides to a triangle. So S equals perimeter divided by 3. Square has 4 sides, so it's going to be perimeter divided by 4. Your regular pentagon has 5 sides. So you're going to have P divided by 5, and your regular hexagon has 6 sides, so P divided by 6. So you're going to have the side length, or the perimeter, divided by the number of sides. All right, so it says a polygon with insides is sometimes called an n-gon. Complete the formula to show how to find the perimeter P of a regular n-gon with side length S. So you would have the number of sides times n for your n-gon. Which formula can you use to find the side length S of a regular n-gon? All right, so if you're solving for S, if you have P equals n times S, all you have to do is divide both sides by n to get S by itself. So S equals P over n. Which formula could you use to find the number of sides n of a regular n-gon if you know the perimeter and the side length S? All right, again, we have P equals ns. If we're solving for n this time, we would divide both sides by S. So P divided by S equals n. All right, so it says the formula for the sum S of the angle measures in a polygon with n sides is S equals 180 times n minus 2, where the angle of measures in degrees. Which formula could you use to find the number of sides of a polygon if you know the sum of its angle measure? All right, so here we're solving for n, okay? We're giving S equals 180 times n minus 2. If we're trying to solve for n, the first thing we have to do is get rid of everything else besides the n. We just have to move it all to the other side to solve. So since this is in parentheses, that means that's grouped together. So the first thing I need to do is get rid of this 180. This is 180 times n minus 2, so I need to divide both sides by 180. So I'm going to have S divided by 180 equals n minus 2, and then to get rid of the minus 2, I would add 2 to both sides. So that gives us the first choice there. All right, that's all for task 1. If you have any questions, let me know. Lesson 2.3, Task 2. Rewrite formulas. Formulas are equations that express one variable in terms of one or more other variables and constraints. Consider the formula for the perimeter of a rectangle. P equals 2L plus 2W. If you know the values of the length and width, you can easily calculate the value of the perimeter. But what if you know the value of P, the perimeter, and W, the width, and want to calculate the value of L, the length? Tricia has enough wire fencing to build 30 feet of fencing around her rectangular vegetable garden. All right, so if she has 30 feet of fencing to go around her garden, remember perimeter is add up all the sides around, so this would be the perimeter. She wants to use all the fencing but hasn't decided on the dimensions of the garden. All right, so she has 30 feet of fence and she wants to know what her side lengths will be. So it says select the arrow to explore how to find the length of the garden if the width is 5 feet. All right, so if the width is 5 and we know the perimeter is 30, you plug in 5 for W and 30 for P and solve for L. So 2 times 5 is 10, subtract 10 from both sides, you get 20, and then divide by 2 and L equals 10. So if the width is 5, the length is 10. It says what is the length if the width is 6? Okay, let's go back to the same formula. We're still going to have 30, but this time we're going to plug in 6. So 2 times 6 is 12. Subtract 12, we get 18. Divide by 2, we get 9 feet. All right, and you can see they plugged in the numbers here to do just exactly that. All right, so what is the length when the width is 7? So let's use the same formula again, but this time we're going to plug in a 7 here. 2 times 7 is 14. Subtract 14 from both sides, we get 16. 16 divided by 2 is 8. All right, and again, you can see everything stayed the same in each one of these equations, except they used a different width. When the width is different, the length would also be different. So this one would be 7 feet by 8 feet. This one would be 6 by 9. And this one would be 5 by 10. All of those give you a perimeter of 30 around the garden. All right, that's all for task 2. If you have any questions, let me know. Lesson 2.3, task 3, rewrite formulas. You can rewrite a formula to express any of the variables in the formula in terms of the other. The steps for solving P equals 2L plus 2W for L are shown. Match the correct justification to the last 2 steps in solving P equals 2L plus 2W for L. So here's the given formula. Perimeter equals twice length plus twice width. That's given. Then we're going to rewrite the formula for L. That means we're solving for L. We want L on one side by itself. Okay, so if you notice 2L is here. So the first thing we need to do is subtract 2W from both sides. So that's what they do here. Subtract 2W from both sides. So that is subtraction property of equality. All right, once they do that, we're still solving for L. We want to get L by itself. We have 2 times L. That's multiplication. To undo multiplication, you do the opposite. So we're going to divide both sides of the equation by 2. So we divide everything on the left by 2, and then we divide 2L by 2, and that leaves just L. So that one is division property of equality. All right, that's all for task 3. If you have any questions, let me know. Lesson 2.3, task 4, solve literal equations. Connect to vocabulary. You have already worked with equations containing constants and variables. A literal equation is an equation in which constants have been replaced by letters. You can often use a literal equation to express the general form of a class of equations. When a literal equation contains variables from the end of the alphabet, letters from the beginning of the alphabet are commonly used for the constants. So you can see here, 2x plus 5 equals 9. So you can see the constants, the numbers here, are replaced by A, B, and C. And you're solving for x. So the variables come from the end of the alphabet, and it uses letters from the beginning for the constants. All right, so it says solve the literal equation ax plus b equals c for x. Given the justification for each solution step when solving the literal equation ax plus b equals c for x. All right, so we have ax plus b equals c, and the first thing you want to do to solve for x is get rid of the b. So since I have plus b, the opposite of that is minus b, so I have to do the inverse. So I'm going to subtract b from both sides. You can see they did that here. Subtract b from both sides. That would be subtraction property of equality. And the reason, again, is because it's equality, is because with an equal sign, as long as you do the same thing to both sides of the equation, it's still equal. All right, after you do that, we're solving for x, so we have to get rid of the a. A times x, the inverse of multiplication is division. So I have to divide both sides by a. So that's going to be division, property of equality. All right, so it says select the area to explore how the literal equation solution is used to solve 2x plus 5 equals 9. All right, you can see here that a is 2, b is 5, and c is 9. So if you substitute these numbers in place of the variables, you're going to get the solution to the equation. So x equals c minus b over a. C would be 9 minus 5 over 2. So 9 minus 5 over 2 is just substituting the numbers in place of the variables and then simplifying. 9 minus 5 is 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So it says use the literal equation solution to solve negative 3x plus 1 equals 10. So a would be negative 3, b would be 1, and c would be 10. And then c minus b, 10 minus 1 divided by negative 3. 10 minus 1 is 9. 9 divided by negative 3 is negative 3. All right, so it says use the literal equation solution to solve x minus 4 equals 2. So I would add 4 to both sides. X equals 6. All right, that's all for task 4. If you have any questions, let me know.